I'm filming this video on Christmas Eve, and it's been a little less than an hour since the Vikings lost to the Detroit Lions. And I feel like I'm still recovering from the pain of that game. And I just wish, as a Vikings fan, I could stop caring, but I can't. Also, my makeup's been on for quite a while. Well, actually not even that long. And I'm like, good thing I plan to wash this off right after filming this video because my skin is looking dry and unwell. Alright, you guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry to start off on such a negative note, but today we are going to be doing something I'm so excited about. We are going to be kicking off my 2024 No Pan Left Behind series. I'm so excited to be doing this project this year. It was something I did for the first time in 2023, and I feel like I just have a newfound appreciation for the palettes in my collection after doing this series. And I'm also so much more excited to create eyeshadow looks. So I'm going to be doing this super similar to how I did it last year, except for I'm going to be working on more eyeshadow palettes at any given time. Last year, if you include all of the new eyeshadow palettes that I brought into my collection, I No Pan left behind 76 eyeshadow palettes in my collection. If you guys are interested in how I would rank those palettes, I have a ranking on all of the palettes new to my collection this year, and then I have ranking the 29 other palettes that I know Pan left behind it. Those will be linked down below, as well as my palette playlist. I feel like, can you tell it's been a rough day? The hair is on another level of whatever. Okay, so the only changes I'm going to be making, because I did 76 eyeshadow palettes last year, I would like to maybe hit 100 this year. So I will be focused on 6 eyeshadow palettes at a time. 5 of those I'm going to randomly generate, and then 1 of them is going to be a palette I pick for myself. And I'm going to be picking a palette out of the collection of palettes that are giving me inspiration for the month. So I also recently posted a Cold Girl January inspired palette collection where I shared with you 12 different eyeshadow palettes that I was hoping to get some use out of, or palettes that were inspiring me for January. And I selected one of those palettes to also No Pan left behind. And then finally, I also want to try and get through as many of my single eyeshadows as I can this year. And I'm not going to randomly generate those single eyeshadows, but I'm going to choose, the ones that I want to work on in any given month. I'll fill up this palette with it, and then after I finish using a single shade, obviously I'll recap every single month, but then these will go in a special palette of completed singles. Because I love my single shadow collection. It's so special. Typically I just buy very special single shadows that are either super metallic, super foiled, duochrome, multi-chromes, and I want to make sure that those are not getting neglected either. So I'll also be sharing with you all of the single shadows that I'm going to be trying to focus on. Typically I'll probably choose singles that are seasonally relevant or relevant to the month that I'm in. I don't know. Anyway, you guys, if you're interested in seeing the introduction, the singles, the palette, and then the 5 randomly generated palettes that I'll be working on, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, I'd love for you to consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Okay, on a positive note, my mom just texted me that she got a new vacuum, so I can have her vacuum. The things we get excited about as an adult. All right, you guys, I'm gonna start maybe with my single shadows. So I have my single shadows here in this little Tarte palette, and I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I have 9 single shadows that I have to focus on in here, and they're all very blue themed. So let me just quickly read off what I have going on here. This shade right here is going to be JD Glow Good God. Oh gosh, should I try and swatch all of these? I can try and swatch all 9 maybe across my knuckle. There's Good God, which is just such a beautiful wet shifty shade. It's one of my favorite singles in my entire collection. Then I have a bunch of Depotted ColourPop singles. Some of, they're from a mixture of palettes, honestly. So I didn't label them, so I'm honestly not sure, you guys. But I will quickly swatch out. I'm pretty sure this is out of the Dream Street palette. And I'm the other reason I want to go through my single collection is to kind of see what I want to keep versus what I don't. This, I believe, was this in the shade Kaleidoscope? I feel like I swatched this now and it looks so boring, but I remember I used to be obsessed with that shade. So we'll see if I use it, if I think it's as boring on the eyes. And I have this really beautiful kind of like silvery blue sort of shade. I think this might be out of ColourPop Perception perhaps. And then I believe this one's also out of the Dream Street. This is just a matte, like deep teal blue. Wow, that's still super creamy. That is so nice. I feel like I'm already seeing an eye look with these, which is a positive. All right, then from Adept, I have the shade ACD5, which I actually do already have a pan on. This is a really fun, like pinky purple, sparkly sort of shade. I feel like that's not as intense as I remember it, but maybe I'm just being picky because I'm crabby about the Vikings loss. Can you tell I'm just a bitter Vikings fan? All right, this is the shade Glass Bowl, also from ColourPop. This one also already has a pan. That also, like, I feel like I used to really like Glass Bowl more than I like it swatched right there, but again, maybe I'm just, I feel like I still really like Glass Bowl. Maybe it's because I'm swatching it on my hairy arm. And then, oh my gosh, I'm literally drooling. Look at that beautiful Snow Sickle, just yumminess. This is a single, I think from Terra Moons. Yes, Terra Moons in the shade Atlas. I am so interested in picking up more singles from Terra Moons, but I'm so hesitant always to pick up just singles. I just, because I feel like they don't get used. So we'll see if I'm good about using my singles now that I'm going to try to do this, and then maybe I will end up buying more singles. But Terra Moons has such a beautiful, really impactful selection of single shadows. So these are the 9 single shadows that I am going to be focused on. I already see like a look using at least like these 3 would be really beautiful. So with this, yeah, I'm seeing looks to create. We're gonna get so much use out of my single palette collection single shadow collection this year, and it makes me so excited. Okay, and then the eyeshadow palette that I'm selecting to No Pan Left Behind is the Odin's Eye Norns palette. I thought about choosing the the Christmas Eve palette, but this is getting older in my collection, and I actually created a look in the video that I'm talking about using as many palettes that I was selecting for January as possible. And I said in that video that this palette might be on its last leg. It truly could be its last year with me, just because I feel like the quality in some of these shadows is starting to decline, but I feel like I'm not going to know for sure unless I No Pan Left Behind it. Plus, I just, oh, this bottom row is giving me life. So this is the first palette, and then we're going to randomly generate the 5 additional palettes that I will be focused on. So I already have all of my palettes, all 156 of my eyeshadow palettes currently queued up in my Tiny Decisions app, and we are going to, should I do like a screen recording? Is that easier? And maybe I'll scoot over. Okay, we are going to, actually no, sometimes it's like so annoying to like match up the screen recording perfectly. I'm just gonna do this. We're just gonna do this. And we're gonna select 5 palettes. We get Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction. Okay, that is a good one to kick the year off with. What a beautiful palette. It's one of my, it is my top favorite Mothership palette in my collection as of right now. Then we get the Glamlight Cake palette. Okay, it's a very colorful palette to start the year out with. I was thinking to myself as the wheel was spinning, I want the Pat McGrath number 3. There's a Pat McGrath palette I have my eye on before. She's currently running 30% off site-wide, and I'm hoping she runs 40% off, like on the 30th or 31st. I feel like she did last year, and I'm like holding out hope for that. Ooh, okay, Rowan Mood Forever. That's exciting because that's a quad that should be really easy to get through. And y'all know I love my Rowan quads. So that is exciting. Sorry, I'll show you guys that I'm tapping this. Tap, tap, tapping. Lethal Wildflower. Okay, that's a really pretty one. Plus that's like more cool toned purple. So I feel like that's also a fun one for January. And then the last palette is going to be Glamlight Scooby-Doo Rutro Reggae. Okay, that's perfect. I feel like I worked on that palette around this time last year as well. I'm gonna grab those palettes, you guys, and I'll be right back. I've been watching some rough hits today out there on the football field. All right, you guys, I have my 5 palettes, my 5 additional palettes, and I'm actually I'm just so excited. I could like scream with excitement. of how, like, I'm just excited to do this again, because this made me have so much fun creating looks last year. I did the 100 looks video as well. Like, I'm shameless plugging every single video I did for my most recent palette week, but I had so much fun doing that. And now I want to do 100 palettes the first half of the year, and then 100 palette looks the second half of the year. That's how ambitious I'm getting. But up first, we have the Moonlit Seduction palette. And as mentioned, I am filming this in advance. I kind of am like, okay, this would be a great New Year's Eve palette, but your girl here is going to the Vikings Packers game on New Year's Eve. I won tickets. Is it gonna be the most painful way to rein in the new year? Obviously, I gotta wear purple for that, but this would make a really great New Year's Eve palette. And this is my newest favorite Pat McGrath palette to my collection. I really loved some of the looks I created with this palette last year, so I'm already excited that I'm just gonna be starting the year out with one of my faves in my collection. That'll be good. This one should be really easy to get through. It's the Rowan Mood Forever quad. I love these Rowan quads. I think they're beautiful. Definitely not for everybody, but if you like a textured cream shadow, I think that these are so beautiful. They really add something special to the eyes, and I'm just very excited to reach into a Rowan quad. I'm also trying to pan my Rowan 75 degrees quad in my Rolling Project 10 pan. So we're using all the Rowan quads right away. Okay. Will I create my Purple Vikings look, or at least some of it, using the Lethal Cosmetics Wildflower palette? Perhaps. It's definitely possible. I'm like, this is giving me Vikings purple vibes, but I'm also super excited about this. One of my favorite looks that I created last year was using this palette. It was definitely outside of my comfort zone. It was very purple, but I really loved it. I definitely have my eye on the Lethal Metamorphosis palette. I think that looks absolutely stunning, and I do want to try more from Lethal Cosmetics this year. They have a really good matte formula. I feel like the mattes are really easy to work with, but I also really like their like special shades. There's so many different tones and finishes to their like special shades, and I'm excited to play with this palette again. Okay, and then the final two palettes are both from Glamlight. I definitely don't know how I feel about this. I mean, we have our Vikings yellow here, maybe, perhaps. You know, I could use this palette to create my Vikings look. I've got my purple and yellow here. I guess we're just gonna start out the year with a bang, with some color, with some fun. Will I be able to roll this out next update? I honestly, I'm not confident. I'm not confident, but sometimes I surprise myself, so we'll see. I do really like this palette. It's very unique to my collection. I feel like it's a perfect palette to have, because I feel like my bases are really covered in terms of like a rainbow. But I'm definitely not reaching for this on an everyday basis. And then finally, I have the Glamlight Rutro Reggae palette. I enjoyed this palette, but I will say these two shades down here gave me a bit of trouble when I was using this palette last year. So I'm excited to pull this back out, have some more fun with it, play around with it, potentially thinking this as a nail polish. I feel like that would be so beautiful. But I also did create a green look using these 6 shades that I really loved last year. So I am excited to pull this back out and get some love and use out of this one. I love Scooby-Doo. So it definitely plays to my heartstrings there. And I really like the Glamlight formula. So I'm super excited about the palettes that I will be kicking the year off with. I feel like we have a good mix here. I guess my goal really, I mean, I would love to roll every palette out every single update, but if I could even roll out 5 palettes each update, that would be exciting for me. I know part of that depends on like how many eyeshadow palettes I'm bringing into my collection as well, because as I bring new palettes in, I do like to no pan left behind those as well. And I do work Monday through Friday at a job that I don't like want to wear like the Glamlight cake palette to, so there's a little bit of limitation there, but I'm very excited, as I keep saying, to be doing this project again. I would love to know in the comments below if you plan to do a no pan left behind project. Let me know. I highly encourage you guys to do this. I feel like this is one of the most valuable projects I've done in a long time. So let me know if you plan to do this in the comments below. Other than that, thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye. Also, Skol, please tell me in your thoughts on Vikings game day. Fingers crossed we at least beat the Packers. I hope. Anyway, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in my next video.